Well, hello, and thank you so much for inviting me along today to chat to you here at Silverstone, the home of British motorsport. Delighted to be here. Today we're going to talk about development at Silverstone. So it would be great if we could start by just having both of you introduce yourselves and to say what your role is here at Silverstone.
My name is Jane Locksmith. I'm Managing Director of Cube Design. We're architects, master planners, interior designers and graphic designers. And for my sins, I've been working at the circuit since 1998 and have been responsible for the master plan right the way through to the current day. So that's my role at Silverstone.
Great.
And I'm Spencer Garvagh, and I'm Development Director here. I've been working here probably for about the same length of time as Jane, and I handle really anything to do with buildings and planning and monetising the site.
Students who are studying on the Business of Motorsport Masters course, they'll be very much aware, I'm sure, of all the events that take place here. But what they might be a little bit surprised at is all the other things that happen at this location. So I think it would be great if you could both give a little bit of an overview of some of the projects that you've both worked on here in recent years. So again, Jane, would you like to go first?
I think I've completed something in the order of about 8 or 9 buildings on the circuit, which have varied from facilities for Ducati, Grand Prix racewear. We've also created a building which has actually got 3C test, which is about a huge wind tunnel building. We've been doing master plan work, and more recently we've just completed the Silverstone Heritage Museum, or the Interactive Museum, which has been amazing because it's funded by the Heritage Lottery Museum and funding, and it provides a facility for everybody to come and visit and see the history of Silverstone. So yeah, in many ways, I think we've completed nearly every building on the circuit.
It's really interesting too, talking about education, because when I first came to work here, I had no idea, and I think some of our students will be really surprised to hear how much education does actually happen here. So maybe, Jane, you can talk about the existing programs that already happen.
Well, we are so lucky to have the University Technology College on site, and it's an amazing facility. You walk in there and it is a active engineering facility, and also it's quite good in terms of diversity. Being a female, I really am supporting engineering, and I think if I wasn't an architect, I'd really want to be designing motorsport and Formula One cars. We also have the College of Motorsport on the circuit as well, and in the Silverstone Heritage Museum we have an education centre. So the education centre is there specifically to enable youngsters to come to the building to actually look at how we actually build motor cars, do pit lane challenges, the technology in terms of even how you actually look at the technology of elements of buildings, of the cars, the brake pads. You can do all sorts of things inside the buildings. I think the one thing you need to remember is Silverstone's a huge site, absolutely vast. And architecturally, we have to balance an operational circuit set against bringing the public into the buildings and into the site. So from our perspective, understanding elements such as pay line, security, safety, the operation is a very fundamental element. From a design point of view, we are split between 2 local authorities. At one time, we had 2 local authorities, 2 county councils, 2 development corporations. And so planning is actually particularly difficult. So before we can do anything, we actually have to have the support of the local authorities. And that is actually very, very difficult and also time consuming. They're very supportive, but we have to have a structure which goes back to our development brief. From my perspective, the other thing which I think is really important is the teamwork. I actually liken Silverstone to being like a race team. I've had the fortune of working for other race teams, and you actually have to put your heart and soul into it. And I think the team at the moment is really so passionate, and you need that passion in terms of a team. So we are a bit like one of the race teams. We're well oiled. If one falls, we actually fall, we step in behind. So I think that is a real challenge, and I love it because, as I say, passion is motorsport. When we're looking at buildings, we're looking at sustainable materials, innovative materials, the use of carbon fibre. You're looking at motorbikes, they're lighter, they're faster, they're quicker, and we're trying to use that same technology in terms of the buildings. And then in more historic terms, I think it's important to pick up, we are on a very important site in terms of Stowe, the historic rides. We're looking at landscape strategy, planting strategy, environmental strategies that all run through as part of our design philosophy, and that extends to the future. So I think it's a real contributor to sustainable environments for the future, so an important aspect.